Hey everyone, you're listening to the Breezy Moms Podcast, a weekly show that chronicles the adventures of motherhood. I'm Candace. Now let's start the show. Hey guys, I'm so excited to be here. Tom, how are you?
You're always excited to be
am.
here.
I mean, you gotta stay excited. And even if you're not, because for real, I was on my couch like half knocked out before I came in tonight. You just gotta tell yourself, I'm trying to secret myself into these like good feelings, good vibes. Do you remember The Secret, the book?
The Secret?
The Secret.
I don't
use
remember
it as a verb.
I remember The Secret Garden.
No, not The Secret Garden. No,
I don't remember The
No,
Secret.
in like 2012 or 2010, something, there's a book, The Secret, and it's got like a wax, like the cover of the book is like a wax stamp. It's just this whole idea of if you talk good shit into being, I'm going to get some money's going to come to me in the mail.
I don't read that often. And the reason being is because when I do, I have to take naps between chapters or even paragraphs. Yeah. Like literally, I take micro naps. Mm-hmm. I start reading and I start dozing
know about
off,
micro naps now.
And I just close the book. And next thing you know, I wake up like 25, 30 minutes later and the book is like on my chest. And then I'm like, oh.
That means you've soaked in all the knowledge from those last 5 pages.
No, because then I got to go back and read the paragraph to remember what I read. No. And it's so difficult for me.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
It's hard. I think I audiobooked it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to lie and say I had like a physical book. My friend Kima, who's going to be on tonight, my best friend, I'm so excited she's going to be here. She's like a total book nerd.
Maybe I should try audiobooks.
You should try audiobooks. I'm not sponsored by Audible, but Audible is cool.
I should try it.
Yeah, and
I mean, because I listen to podcasts. I listen to you. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I listen to our show afterwards to see what a shit show it's become. But
audiobooks is cool. Audiobooks is really cool, and screw those people who say, "Oh, it's not reading." It's like, do I know what happened in the story? I know what happened first, and I know what happened last.
So
I read it.
Hashtag Audibles, and when we create our post for tonight, we're going to hashtag Audibles.
Right, and maybe they'll sponsor me.
And if Audibles is listening, she is open for sponsorship.
I am. It's how I'll know I'm legit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally legit. People are listening to my show in Africa, in Ghana to be specific.
Oh, you've got listeners in Sweden. Places, yeah.
And in Japan. I'm so excited.
Yeah, one of our listeners, Charles, sent us a message. She says you have a very lovely voice, and he's looking forward for you to come on Gay Talk.
I can't wait. I'm going to be on Gay Talk July 30th.
Mm-hmm.
Gay Talk 2.0 live at 6:30-ish.
She's going to sit down with 3 gay men and probably have the time of her life.
Oh my God, it's a dream. It's a dream. I'm so excited. I haven't been invited to something this cool. I'm sure it's going to be cool because I've already met Trish, who's pretty awesome. I haven't met Chris, though.
I'm not going to be able to get rid of all the estrogen in the room, though, because between you and Trish, I just don't know. I'm just like, oh my God. But
so yeah, come back July 30th at 6:30. I'll be on Gay Talk 2.0. I'm really excited. On Monday, yes, a different night for me. It's going to be 2 nights recording for me that week.
Yeah.
We'll see how I can keep it together.
By Friday. I'm like, you gotta go now.
Not enough of you.
No, but overall, I'm excited that you're back. I am always excited when you come back because you talk about a lot of very relevant topics.
Thank you.
And a lot of really good things, and people are really taking to your show and really appreciating the information.
I know. So. I had a friend just reach out to me and say that she listens to. Remember when we were talking about the relationship podcast that James listens to?
Yes.
I don't know if I ever circled back to tell people what it was called, but it's called Esther Perel, Perel, and Esther spelled Esther. And she's actually from Belgium. Does that make her French or?
She's from Belgium?
Belgium, from Belgium.
She's
I don't know,
from Belgium.
What they call themselves. She's from Belgium because I think I said she was French, I think. But I imagine they speak French in Belgium. I'm just putting all my ignorance out in the streets for the world to know.
It's okay. So, when you think of Belgium is a country in Europe. It actually is not too far away from France,
right? And what do they speak?
The capital of Belgium is Brussels.
Oh, it's Brussels.
Yeah, and let's take a look. Actually, they speak Dutch, German, and French.
Okay. All right. So at least I wasn't wrong.
Depending on where you are in the country, like if you're closer to the border, you may be apt to speak more French than you would if you were Northern or more towards like
the other part,
German or Germany or any other of the other borders that it surrounds.
Okay, so micro lesson on Belgium just now. You heard it here. You heard it here. That's what Google is for. But that is not what the show is about. And this is how we always get distracted. Okay? This is how we always get distracted. Why? Oh, because people are listening to the show, and I still can't believe people are listening to the show and sort of texting me and letting me know that they're listening. And my friend was like, "Oh, are you talking about Esther Perel? I listened to Esther Perel." So it was a really cool little moment that I had. I think that was yesterday. So shout out to Gladys who reached out to me, and I have some pretty cool guests coming up over the next couple weeks that I'm really super excited about. Again, I think people wait to see what you're doing to see like if they want to be involved. And so now we're on episode 17. Even I feel a little more legit than I was on episode 2.
And you're more comfortable too.
I'm more comfortable and more really into it. And so people are responding positively when I ask them to come on the show. So I'm really excited. The next couple of weeks are going to be cool.
I think it's going to be amazing. So Candace, I have a question for you.
I'm listening.
How are your boys?
Oh, the boys are good. I mean, like I said, they're always good. This week, though, I'm having some real MomSoHard moments because Lincoln is, I mean, he's 4, but he looks 6. So he's like a grown 4. And I've been having a few like worries about.
I'd hate to imagine what he would be like when he's a grown 18.
Yeah, when he's a grown 18, he's going to look like a grown ass man. I know. Unless he's like an early sprouter, right? Like he could sprout really early and then be little for the but it's probably not likely. It's probably not likely. But I've just been having some moments especially because my program is growing next week. I'm going to have 3 more kids join my program and I'm in there by myself. And so I was just sort of feeling like, what happens if I fall down the stairs? Remember, everything ends in death for me. Mm-hmm. So he is in a place where I feel like we can have some legit conversations. And so we had a little bit of a, like, what happens if mommy falls down or you're trying to talk to me and I'm not responding? What do we do? Who do we call? How do we open the phone? I put his fingerprint. I added his fingerprint to my cell phone just to be sure. And now I'm going to have to fight him. Like I can't keep him out of the phone now.
Well, no, you can take his fingerprint off and teach him that there's a little spot when you open the phone. There's a little spot that says emergency. Maybe he clicks on that. I'm going to
look at it because the Android is not the same as the iPhone.
Oh, well.
Because it doesn't. Right now mine says like, hello Google, or it's a camera. So maybe I need to.
So you see that here?
But is that an iPhone?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have an iPhone.
If you click emergency, it'll actually bring you right to the phone
pad. That doesn't show
up
on my phone. Listen when I tell you what I know. Okay. I only tell you what I know. And right now,
your iPad is always connected, so
my phone right now says unlock because I've been holding it, microphone, which is to say something to Google, and camera. So maybe tonight I'll go into the settings and see if I can change one of those little keys.
Yeah, I think that would be good. And it's very proactive of you to teach your children.
But again, it's because I'm neurotic and I'm afraid of leaving the kids in the house because I've fallen down the stairs.
She's got more kids now. So
right now I've got more kids, and so I'm just worried. So anyway, we're having this big conversation of like, you're a big kid now. You know how to use the phone. You know how to talk. They're going to ask you questions. Who are you? Where are you? Is the door open? No, I can't get in the front door, but I'll open the back door for you. Like we've been having these conversations, right? And so he's just, I think it's emboldened him a little bit. And so now he thinks he's grown. And I just have to be like, dude, but you can't walk away from me when we're in the street.
Do you have a landline?
No.
Okay. So you have cell phones.
We have cell phones. We have cell phones, but remember we talked last week about Alexa? What I forgot in the lesson was about Alexa. We might Google to see if Alexa can call 911.
I would video it when he's not in the room, but then just tell him later at some point because he's going to want to try it, right?
Right. No, I know.
And you're going to be like in the shower.
Well, we did on the phone when we were trying. We were like pretending. I was like, you can't call if it's not really an emergency. Like we're just going to pretend. What is the number? But anyway, the whole point is that I'm trying to talk to him like a little person because he's a little person. And you're going to distract me. I'm not going to be able to function with this Mickey Mouse
hat. I'm talking about
this pride Mickey Mouse hat on your head. Anyway, I am trying to get him a little aware right, of what's going on, because I would hate so anyway, I've been doing all my, I've got all the emergency stuff in my backpack. I've just been thinking about it, but it has emboldened him in a way that now he thinks he's grown and I can do it. And so he wants to hold, did I tell you I got a leash for Emery's backpack?
You did.
Okay, so I got a leash for Emery's backpack, and we've been going out the last few days. We took the bus, like, on an adventure. Like, I'm from the Bronx, and I have to now take my kids on an adventure to get on a bus, or else they don't know about the bus. I'm like, what kind of life is this? Like, I don't know about this life. I used to know everything about the bus, and now I have to ask people how much the bus costs. Like, what is it now? What kind of bougie black person am I? $1.75.
Are you serious?
But we're in Connecticut. It's like $3.50. It's probably almost $4 in New York now. But it's only $1.75 here, and I think people are bitching about it because it feels like a lot. But we're not in New York, so we won't even worry about $3.50 or whatever they're doing in New York City.
Or what is it? It's up to $12.50 now when you cross the GWB.
I don't even know. I don't get involved in that.
$12.50 to go over that.
The Tappan Zee.
Yeah.
And I use my thing, so I legit don't even know how much it costs. Again, more bougie black privilege. It's a weird sentence to say.
That's not even a thing.
It's not even a thing. Oh, man. Okay, but that's not what the show's about. We can talk about bougie black privilege. That's not a thing on another show.
And how's your other baby?
My other baby is good. He's on a leash because he is a mess. And so we went out this week, and now he knows. We've gone out like 3 times with the backpack leash, and he knows when the backpack comes out that now the leash is coming out, and he doesn't want to put it on anymore. And Lincoln, because Lincoln is firstborn and thinks he's in charge of everything, thinks he's the assistant to the daycare, he wants to hold the leash. And I was like, dude, I'm going to hold the leash because you can't be trusted. You're always crying that Emery did something to you. He's going to drag you down the street.
They'll probably run away together.
They'll run away together.
No, well, I do have to say something there. All right, so to your listeners, to the listeners of the Breezy Moms podcast, go to the Breezy Moms podcast page on Facebook, okay? And you have to subscribe and you have to like the page because you'll get amazing videos. There's a video of Emery, and he was sleeping and legit...
Eating. What was he eating?
He was sucking on something.
I forget what he was eating.
Was it yogurt?
Yeah, it was yogurt. It was a Go-Gurt. A Go-Gurt.
Out. And when I tell you out, passed out, I started laughing so hard at work.
Yes.
And I said to myself, did I ever do this?
Probably.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
And I knew that he was exhausted. I mean, I'm terrible for recording it, but it was gold. But
gold is not even the word.
I wanted him to eat so that he would sleep a little bit longer. But we had a nice busy morning and playing in the sun and in the water and running around. So he was exhausted. And I was just trying to stretch out that morning just a few extra minutes so that he could sleep a nice long time in the afternoon. And it was just hilarious. So, yeah.
He's so determined to stay awake that he's literally fighting to sleep with his Go-Gurt.
It's hilarious. Hysterical. He's hilarious. So yes, go to the Breezy Moms page on Facebook and follow me there in my shenanigans.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah. I love your videos.
Yeah, They're amazing. Thank you. So I'm trying to get good at, knowing what to post, and then I start thinking about things too much. Like, I'm one of those, if it isn't perfect, then don't do it. And that's just silly and stupid because then you don't do anything because nothing's ever perfect. So I was just thinking, if I'm going to do this, I'm like, I have to have these posts and they have to be every couple hours and every day and blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, I can't be that person because I got shit to do. So I just post what I got when I get, and hope that you enjoy it and like it and laugh because, like, I'm sure stuff like that is happening at your house too.
I was hysterically laughing. I thought it was very funny.
It was hilarious. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the boys are good and it's been nice. The weather has been good. So we've been doing a lot of like little field trips and also I've been afraid that we wouldn't be able to get out in the next couple of weeks with so many more kids. So we were doing it big this week with our last hurrah with only 3 kids.
Go big or go home.
I know, right? So
you're going to need a lot more leashes.
I know. I think I'm going to get them. I just got an actual backpack because what I was using before is a rigged backpack with a dog leash. Like I just went full.
You should get them the harness ones.
So I ordered one for Emery because the backpack I was using now is a preschool backpack and it generally works for him, but it needs to be a little snugger. What he needs is a toddler backpack harness leash situation. So I just ordered one on Amazon, and it'll come tomorrow. I'll post a picture when I get a minute, because I think that he's going to like it, because it's a really cute little dinosaur situation. I think actually Lincoln's going to be jealous and is going to ask for it until he sees the leash. But it's going to be, I think it's going to work out. And then the other super cute thing that I may or may not have posted on the page, but we'll follow up with it, is I went out and picked up a couple of these lime green dinosaur hats, and I got 3 of them. So when we go out on field trips, the 3 boys are wearing them. One, it's super easy for me. It's super easy for me to see them. Like, we were at the library and there are a bunch of other kids, and so I know which ones are mine. And then we also present as a group when we're outside. So people actually respond to me a little bit differently when they can see that I'm a daycare provider, and I'm not just like a young girl with a bunch of kids. You know what I mean? Like,
no, definitely.
People totally judge you. So it looks like a field trip situation and not just like a haggard mom of too many kids who like shouldn't be out here anyway, nobody to help her, like, you know, like all the judgy things that people come up with. And so it's been pretty cool this week. So we'll see.
That's awesome.
We'll see what's
happening.
You
have to take pictures.
I know.
And post them on the Breezy Moms podcast page.
I will.
Awesome.
And then James is good, as usual. James is good. Helps keep us together. And what is he doing? Oh, he's doing school. He's got like some new class just started. So we're counting. I think it's at the end of March. No, that's not March. We're not even in March. End of August, I think, is, I don't know, some amount of time coming up. So then we'll catch a break until January, and I'm totally looking forward to it, because I'm not even taking the classes and I'm fried.
Lord have mercy.
I know. I'm trying really hard to like dig deep and be supportive, but I'm tired.
I start soon.
Oh, when do you start?
In September. So
at least you have the summer.
Yeah, 6 weeks. I can't believe that all that's left of summer is 6
weeks. I know. It's
Enjoy
crazy.
Them. Buckle down.
I feel like it was just May when I was thinking about the summer, and all of a sudden, that's why people talk about your summer bucket list. You really have to have ready for May, because June comes and goes so quickly. And time flies, whether you're having fun or not. So anyway, let's just jump right in, because I'm super excited to talk to my best friend. I'm just thinking I can't believe I've waited this long. It's taken this long to get her onto the show. So she's my best friend of like, I don't know, 15, almost 20 years. I'm not that old.
She's not even 25.
Old. 17 years.
17 years. See, it is almost 20 years.
It's almost 20.
And so anyway, she's here. You hear her voice. So Kima, I'm going to call her Dr. Kima, because it's just sassy and amazing. I'm so excited for her.
Well, Dr. Kima, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Kima. And actually, Kima is Lincoln's godmother, and we call it, like, for better or for worse, we don't see her that often. And so he doesn't see her that often. So I try to make it so that he knows her, remembers her, like has a way of remembering her. So we call her Dr. Kima. When her picture shows up, I'm like, who's that? And he goes, Dr. Kima.
That's really awesome, though.
Really cool. Plus, there's the whole thing of black doctors, right? It's right along the lines of Doc McStuffins and Doc McStuffins' mom. Like, I want him to know real black lady doctors, including his own. We have a black pediatrician. We have a black dentist. Look, I'm not ashamed.
No, it's important. We have to teach our youth that, you know what, you have people out there that you can identify with that are in exceptional roles, that can be exceptional role models. And, you know, not everything has to be what the stereotypical white people expect that black men and women or people of color are going to end up being, or that
look at Tom getting mad. I see it in his eyes.
Showing up or living in a specific, you know, demographic or neighborhood, or they put you in a box. Right. And it's like, no, it's like, you know, you've got so many amazing people out there that do such great work, and that's what we need to
show them.
Mm-hmm. And you do that.
I know. So that's Dr. Kima, and I make a big deal about her and trying to keep in touch with her so that he knows her, and because she's such a big, important part of my life. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I've been listening, and we will try not to use ridiculous best friend shorthand. And
that's a good point. That's a really good point.
fully explain my answers and pretend I'm not just talking to you.
Yeah, because I mean, people are listening, okay? People are listening. Or they will be listening, whatever.
They are listening.
They are
I'm going to
listening.
step back and watch the masters work.
So I wanted to bring you on because one, you're my best friend, and I want to make sure that you're involved here. And two, because you've got some really cool things going on. Like I said, you are a doctor. You're like a real psychologist. Like, I know this is not the kind of psychologist that you are, but when I think psychologist, I think of the guy from SVU. Like they always bring in the guy to talk to.
Wong's
yes,
character?
BD Wong's character. Who comes in, because you always have, I'm like, I'm so mad, and you're like, well, Candace, if you really sit back and think about how this really can affect the people around you, what you're really showing here is some lack of, and I'm just like, shut up, you're just supposed to say like Chris Rock said, this bitch. That's what your answer's supposed to be, not make me feel bad that it's actually my fault. I know it's my fault. That's not why I came to you.
Okay, first of all, you and I have always done that to each other, sans degree. So for you to even say that is straight bull.
Whatever.
Person who, when I say things and I'm like, and he did this and I'm pissed off, and she's like, so what you did was this?
Right.
Seemed like a smart idea.
I know. Okay. But that's why you need that person. You need a friend who's going to remind you that sometimes you're full of shit.
Absolutely.
And just to like, so James and so you and James, it's hilarious because you and James have the same birthday, which has always been like a fun, cool thing for me. But he comes at me with that same shit, and I'm just like, listen, that's not your role right now. First, you're supposed to say this bitch. Like that's how it works. And then, and so now he's evolved. He says, okay, so why don't you take about an hour to feel bad about whatever that is? And then when you're ready, we can talk about it some more. And I'm just like, oh, that's not, you're not doing it right.
That is not what I have.
That's not how it works. First, we say this, like this is.
You know, I'm ready to burn some stuff down if I need to with you.
I know. Bail money
always.
Back got, right? It's always going to be how it's supposed to be first. So
ready.
Getaway car running, bail money, just all the things. Anyway, you have to have that person, and you're that person for me, and I love you. So now that is over, now that is all out in the streets and we get it. So I wanted to bring you on because I actually just realized tonight that you are my first guest who's not a parent, not a mom, because it's like a Breezy mom show. But I want to make sure that people know that it's not just about moms, because you don't wake up one day as a mom. I guess you do wake up one day and you're a mom.
You do.
But you don't start out. It's an evolution. You get there. So I think it's important to sort of have this talk and this perspective from someone who's in this point, right? Because I think it's real. It's also important to say like that at this point we're going to talk about these things, but you like want to get to the marriage mom like stuff, and so we're going to talk about that, because one of the things I've been thinking about is there's always this like, either you focus on work or you focus on family, and like you have to give up some, and then other people are like, no, we can have it all, and then other people are like, I tried to have it all but I'm fucking exhausted. So like where do you position yourself on that spectrum? Where do you find yourself right now?
So right now, work does dominate a bit, and that is not so much because it's my priority, so much as it happens to be the thing in my life right now.
Right. And it took you 100 years to finish school.
And it did take me a million years and much self-sacrifice, as well as different deals with different deities. But in the end, I finished, and here we are. But I think it. Part of the like feminist movement is kind of saying we can have it all. We've come to this place, and I don't think that that's a thing.
I don't want it all.
I'm tired having the shit that I got. So I don't know about having all of anything. It is about like making compromises with yourself and prioritizing things. And so right now my priority is work, but that's more of the default because that's what I have right now. If I had a spouse and a family, my priority would automatically be them. Since I do not, work kind of gets more of my my time than it would if I had those other things. It necessarily got more of my time during grad school because that's a 60 to 80 hour week commitment for 6 years.
Wow.
That's what you have to know going in. That's what you make your peace with, and you say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And so, having to conceptualize things like that and say, okay, here's where my priorities have to be right now, and where does my personal life fit in, has always been a learning experience for me and for my friends who were either also in grad school or in med school or whatever the case may be.
And so for I don't think this is my listeners, so I feel like I don't have super judgy listeners, but they're judgy people out there. Do you think people would think that you make an active choice to focus on school or professional, goals over finding a relationship, starting a family, like that kind of thing? Do you think that's a thing? I call those people assholes, but
right. It is to a certain extent. I made the choice to be a doctor, and I made that choice over and over and over again. I didn't make a choice to go to grad school, and that was the only choice I made, and that was the end of it. I got up every day and made that choice. And every day I made that, those I prioritized. And so, when I first went into grad school, I had a relationship, and that relationship took priority over, not over school necessarily, but it took a special place. And so I had to make sure I dedicated time to it. And at least half of the people in my class in grad school were either married or with a significant other, and had to make sure they fed that beast. They had to those relationships. One of my classmates had a tiny human while she was in graduate school. So you just make conscious decisions every day on where your priority, where things fall on your priority list. So no, I didn't make the conscious decision that I would, kind of prioritize my career above all things. It fell where it fell when it needed to fall where it needed to fall. And that's kind of the end of that discussion.
And a good and proper relationship would work around that, right? Because you both want good for the best for each other.
Absolutely.
If you're in a great relationship.
If you were in a great relationship.
Yeah.
I was not. So.
Right. I hear you. I remember that. And
yes, you do.
I got the bail money. I still got it. We didn't have to use it. Okay.
But it came close.
We came close. We came close.
Close thing.
But we didn't have to use it. And so all is well.
All is well.
He's all right. So here we are. Now you're a doctor.
Now.
And so what's dating looking like for you now? I know. Well. I already know, but I feel like we should tell people because I tell you, not that I use you, but just in general, the things that I see on television and anytime I get into a fight with James, I have a minute and then I'm like, nah, you're right. You're right. Because I ain't about these streets. I ain't about to go on. I don't know what Tinder is. I'm not you're right. I'm sorry. Let's do over. Let's start over.
We're going to work this out because we're not going to go back to that place.
We're not going there. Plus, I left there at 19, so I don't really, it's a whole 20 years, 15 years. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
So,
very true.
For those of us who have not been out in these streets for a while and forget and can't really appreciate what's going on, tell us a little bit about what it looks like.
Well, it is rough out here in these streets.
And where are you? Tell us where you are.
So I am in Northern California.
Okay.
And so, dating, I will tell you the funniest and truest thing, I think, someone of the opposite sex told me. So I had a male friend while I was still in Boston, so before I was in grad school. And we had gone out on a couple dates, but we were better as friends. And at some point we were out eating or something. And he was like, Kima, you have to hurry up. And I was like, I'm sorry, hurry up. Eating this meal right now? He was like, no, stupid. You have to hurry up and find a man. I was like, okay, let's back up. What is happening?
I feel like you started this conversation without me.
Somewhere else. I was eating my pho. I don't know what's going on. And he politely told me, you are about to get a doctorate. You do not have the luxury of waiting to find a man. And I was like, because grad school is going to be intense, because he was getting a dual doctorate, an MD and a PhD. He said, no, because no man will have you once you get a PhD. And I was like, what in the whole fuckery is this foolishness?
Fuckery is this? Wow.
Hella mad. I was like,
and this coming from a dual graduate dude, right? Like, I'm going to be fine, but you...
No, legit, he was
with a straight face.
Right.
Because, you know.
A black man who went to... Right. Because that's the...
A powerful man it's okay for them to have, you know, all these like acronyms following their name and be able to successfully find a relationship, but a woman can't.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, at first when he said it, I was hella mad. I was like, that's some like misogynistic bullshit and blah blah blah, and my whole neck was going, and I was just ready to take my earrings off and
I
hurt him.
will loan you my knife.
Thank you. And then I realized it was absolutely somewhat true, at least somewhat true.
Okay.
And so when I went into my master's program and would go on dates, and you know, say, hey, what do you do? Well, I'm in a master's program, and they would be like, oh, okay, cool. What are you studying? Well, I'm in this program for psychology until I'm applying to doctoral programs, and the conversation was shut down. Like there was this automatic, like, oh. Okay.
You one of them smart girls, huh?
And you could feel the withdrawal across the table, and I was like, "Oh, it got cold in here. I feel a breeze.
Is the window open?"
So, if the gene pool is not that, you know, diverse when it comes to you being having an opportunity to find someone that's not in your field, is it happening when doctor to doctor? I mean, you both understand what you go through, and
yeah. So it is. That sounded so bad.
I mean, do we turn it into like one of these Grey's Anatomy episodes where you guys are like meeting in the closets and stuff like that? You
know what's funny? So a lot of my colleagues and my superiors are married to individuals in the same field or in adjacent fields. So psychologist to psychologist, psychologist to psychiatrist, engineers. You know, it tends to be that they do have you know, higher education degrees. But even that can still be a little tender. It's the male ego, and I'm sorry, men, I don't want to generalize, but oftentimes there's an adjustment for some men of having a woman who is of even equal status, not even like saying that she is more advanced or makes more money, just of equal status. And I think in Black men, which is who I have predominantly dated, that can be a bit on hyperdrive even. So there can be this feeling sometimes of, I think Black men, you know, they go through a lot in society, and needing us to have their backs when they come home is kind of paramount. And so when I come with my own, like, it's not easy to be with a psychologist, and I'm not, you know, excusing anyone's behavior, but I come home and I'm drained. I don't have a lot of emotional shit to give you. I just spent 8 hours a week 8 hours a day giving it to someone else.
I started giggling, you know, when you said psychologist, you know, dating a psychologist. I'm like, when an argument ensues, how does it get handled?
Does it get resolved?
You know,
it's psychoanalyzed in a circle.
You would think that it would be the most well-adjusted thing ever, and it is not. I was talking to a colleague about, you know, someone I was seeing, and they were like, well, you need to just talk to him about how you guys are feeling. I was like, I don't talk about my feelings. And she was like, I'm sorry, what degree do you have? I was like, looky here.
I'm sure that most psychologists must have their own psychologist. Like, it's just...
Yeah, oftentimes, yeah.
You need, especially you're carrying everybody else's shit, you need somewhere to unload your own.
You need somewhere to unload it. And so, yeah, it can be hard when it comes to finding someone to date. I tend to not want someone who is in this field, because I want to take this off when I go home. You know, I don't want to think about my job. I don't even want it to remotely creep into my life. The door shuts. It is over. Right. So I do want someone who's at least in a completely different field. But the education doesn't matter to me, but it tends to matter to men that I date.
Yeah,
so,
and I mean, it's probably, to be fair, it's easy for you to say that because you're a fucking doctor, right? You'd be like, oh, you know, I like you. I think you're cool, you know? And they're like, I'm more than cool. I'm more... Like, it's easy because you're kind of coming from a position of power.
Right. And there is this fragileness to the ego sometimes. I was dating someone in Boston before I left who Candace introduced me to. And he ghosted after we dated for a little while. And like months later, I get a phone call and I'm like, who the hell is this? And he's like, hey, it's me. And I was like, why are you calling me? And he's like, I just wanted to explain what happened. And I was like, who cares now? It's months. Right. Fucking why? And then he tells me, it was intimidating being with, he didn't say those exact words, but that's kind of what he got at. He's like, you know everything about everything, and then blah, blah, blah. And I just didn't feel like I was bringing anything to our relationship. And I was like, I can't help how you feel, dude.
I can't help facts. I can't. They're facts. I know them. What do you want me to do?
First of all, the thing is, he brought a lot to the relationship, but he didn't see it like that.
Right,
and I can't really, you have to have that from
you
within.
And all your books, Kima. You and all your books.
Books are important, dude.
So would you say it is important if you're in a position of power, or you're an educated woman? Let's not even use the position of power, because that makes you seem like you're like on a power trip.
I'm just saying, stand in your stand in it, girl. Stand in it.
If you're an educated woman and you're dating someone who may have not had the opportunity to receive the education that you have, is there anything that you could do on your end to make them feel a little bit more intelligent? Not that defeats the purpose of sort of kind of letting them live in their own, but is there anything that you can do to reassure someone who's not there, like sort of kind of standoffish because of your education?
I chose you, dude.
Like that should be enough, right?
Should be enough.
But when it does come to, I highlight the things that are important to me, the things that makes our relationship work. So you have, if you have knowledge in areas or expertise in areas that I don't, or choose not to exercise. So, I like, I am a bit more traditional in my relationship styles. I like men who know how to fix shit. I like men who know how to build shit. That's my thing. And so you come in and you're like, oh, hey, the check engine light was on in your car. I handled that. You might get a whole lot of sexy loving.
Saucy time for the engine light. Yes.
Engine light. Oil changes, all that jazz.
Oh,
and it's not that I'm not competent to do that, but it's because I don't, that's how you care for me, and that I put a premium on that.
So while you were describing that whole story, I immediately went to Diary of a Black Mad Woman, right?
Yeah.
The guy Orlando that she was dating, right? He's like I'm sorry.
Wasn't that Shamar Moore? Wasn't that Shamar Moore?
Fun.
I mean, beyond what he was doing, he was just Shamar Moore. So, but they had him in this weird way that was trying to make him look not as fine as the cornrows. It was looking kind of like that's not Shamar. It's kind of weird.
When he was in that factory and he was getting all sweaty,
oily.
I mean, friend.
Yo, Tom, relax.
Friend. This is all I'm saying. In my dream world, all I can think is having my husband outside in a tank top or with his shirt off,
chopping wood. Oh Lord!
You heard it here.
You heard it here. All right. So
you'll be married next week.
I don't know how many of my listeners are wood choppers, but
I will fall
I'll push
off
it around.
Chair. I will fall off this chair if the next person you meet, his name is Orlando.
Oh my God, it'll be amazing. It'll be amazing. So I want to jump from here and talk a little bit out loud online about some other choices and some other interests that you have that may play into this, right? And play into the way that the relationship kind of goes. So I wanted to say, I was going to say you were in this lifestyle, but that's because I'm mad regular and I don't want to other you by saying that your lifestyle, that your life choices are a lifestyle, but you were into the see, so I'm
That's
clutching.
Fine, I got it.
I'm clutching, okay? I'm clutching my pearls.
I am into the BDSM.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's talk about it, okay? So I can get relaxed around the conversation. And also I feel like my only entry into BDSM was 50 Shades of Grey's, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know that like it was kind of like a saucy rated R movie for us laymen, right? To
But
like
there's
be out
so much more to it
in public, right? But there's so much more, and the BDSM world didn't like a whole lot of the things that were in it.
No.
So it would be really cool if you'd sort of talk to me, talk to us about that world, because it's cool. It's cool. I think it's cool.
Sure. So it is a lifestyle, and it is about kind of understanding who you are at your core, and what makes you tick, and it takes a lot of the bullshit out of things, which is why I love it. So
are you a dom? Are you a dom? What's the whole long word for dom?
What does it stand for? So BDSM stands for bondage, dominance, sadomasochism. And in the lifestyle, there are many different people, and I won't get into all the different roles that people have. I'll just stick with dominance and submissives. So I am asexual submissive. So what that means is that when it comes to my bedroom lifestyle, I prefer to give the control to my partner. That is my preference, and it's not so much a preference as it is an integral part of who I am. I am a giver and a nurturer, and for me, I'm in control of a lot. I have a somewhat high-powered position, and I have a lot that I hold the bag for. And my family, I make a lot of the decisions, for my mom and my brothers and things like that. And so this is the one place where I get to be 100% hands off, and it takes the thinking out of it for me. In previous relationships, I was so focused on, am I doing it right? Does he want this? Does he want that? And I don't have to worry about that in these encounters, in these relationships.
So you're submissive.
But yes, but only sexually submissive.
Not like I will cut you.
Right, well, no, right.
In the street.
which is an interesting and an important distinction to make, that just because I'm submissive at home in the bedroom, or I should say in the bedroom, doesn't mean I'm submissive in the kitchen or I'm submissive on the street. Right. Like her.
I will get you with that wooden spoon if you think that I'm going to be here slaving in this kitchen for you every day.
You want to know what's for dinner? I want to know what's for dinner. Like, what's for dinner?
And so that is an interesting distinction. For me, like in general, I tend to be more traditional. So I do like cooking for my family and my spouse, and I do like kind of maybe adhering to somewhat more traditional roles. But I'm an equal partner to whoever I'm with. So if I was with a man and he said, I'm putting my foot down, I'd be like, you better pick that shit back up.
Right. Where? Where are you going to put the other one? Tell me so I can walk around.
We'll push you off your feet with no compunction.
I know.
But for asexual submissive, it's a power dynamic, and it's about an exchange of power. So a dominant is the person who's in control, and male or female can be a dominant, just like a male or a female can be a submissive.
I know. Have you watched Billions? They have one of the main characters.
No, I watch TV.
See. Well, I tell you, they're addressing this in other. So it was Grey's. What do we say it's called? 50 Shades of Grey. And now two of the main characters on Billions, the I don't know, Attorney General or whatever his title is, and the psychologist of the hedge fund, she's the dom and he's the submissive.
There you go. Yes. And so it's not about necessarily like kind of you just liking a particular, fetish or something like that. It is about a bit more about who you are. And so as a submissive, the control still lies with me because I get to say no. I always get to say no.
Well, that's important.
It's always about consent. I am choosing to give this person the control because I trust them. One of the things that drew me to the lifestyle, besides it being kind of part of who I am, was, again, it cuts through the bullshit. So you have to be very frank and open with someone before you even start any of this. Right. You have to say kind of what you want, what you don't want, where your no-go areas are, what you're comfortable with. You have to hash out a lot of stuff to make sure that you all are even compatible before you get into any of the other, before you even really touch each other, for the most part, which kind of, leaves you further along in the process very quickly than you are in traditional dating, where you're still kind of feeling each other out, sometimes months in. At a first meeting, you're like, all right, boom, let's hash this out.
Right.
This is who I am and what I need and what I want. And here's who you are. Do those look compatible? Awesome. Let's do this.
It's like an arranged.
It almost feels a bit like an arranged marriage, but it is, it has just more honesty to it. I can't lie in this relationship. I can't lie about what I'm feeling and what I need, because it doesn't work if you do it.
And is that just sort of sexually? I mean, you could still be...
It bleeds into...
Just regular relationship and conversation and feelings and emotional whatever.
When you have given someone complete control, at least of you physically, but it bleeds emotionally as well. But when you've given someone that control, they learn your responses very well. And after a while of doing that and having that complete and open honesty, when you're closer back on and you're having dinner and, someone asks you if you were okay with something.
She's reading my mind. I swear to God she is. Because you know what I was going to say? I can just imagine the conversation at Thanksgiving. You're having dinner and you're like, you need to finish that. And he's going to be like, when I get home later, I'm going to tell you.
And that is part of the fun.
Right. I need to what?
You need to simmer down.
Simmer down, girl. Simmer down.
You get home, I'm going to tie you down and go to town.
Or later, it's like, remember earlier? What did you say to me?
Did I just tell you? Right. Yeah, no.
That is saucy. That is saucy.
It's something that I found helpful is because I am a strong person and have a very strong personality, as Candace can well attest to. I need a strong person to be with.
You need a strong dom. You need a dom's dom.
It takes a bit, because I can tend to, we call it topping from the bottom, which means you end up controlling the scene as the submissive.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
And I'm good for it.
Yeah.
Like I can't.
Like, yeah. Oh, I forgot. You're right. I forgot. Just do it this way.
You're doing this. Okay. It's like dancing. It's like, let me lead.
Right.
I need someone who's just going to be like, who just takes it, who takes the control and doesn't allow me to pull the shit that I normally do.
So how long have you been in the lifestyle, and how did you realize, and how did you get, like, how'd you find the people?
So I hate to admit this, but I found the lifestyle by reading that trilogy. And when I first read the book, definitely more, I'm a sexual submissive, but my particular fetish is bondage. So I like to be tied up, tied down, whatever. I like to not be able to move and have someone take control physically that way. It is very thrilling to realize that you are wholly at the mercy of someone else, which is my particular fetish. And so reading the book and seeing him, restrain her, or reading about him restraining her, is where I kind of started to realize that I liked at least those aspects.
You're like, ooh, what's this? What's happening here?
Right.
Where did this come from?
To be candid, there are many different sex toys that were bought as a result of that book.
Right,
so
right.
It happens.
That's great.
But then I started to actually wonder about the lifestyle. I was like, it speaks to me to have someone take control. And so I started to read nonfiction about it and started to talk to some people. I had a good friend who I was talking to about it, and she disclosed to me that her sister was in a lifestyle. And so I was able to talk to her and really get some firsthand information. And then I started going to some events for people who were in the lifestyle and got firsthand experience. And that was all she wrote. So that happened in 2013?
Wow.
So
that's awesome. I mean, it's one of these things that's like, so 5 years, so you're 30 when you realize it, but I'm sure there are people who are like 65 who haven't figured it out yet. So,
yeah,
I mean, I don't know if I would say, I guess 30 feels to me like I don't want to use the wrong terms. I'd always get into this part, but I want to say that it seems to me like a reasonable time frame to figure out that you like this thing, because I'm thinking if you were sort of like in 50 Shades of Grey, like you're 20 years old and you just meet some fancy dude who throws you into it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe you get swept up in something before you are, quite aware of who you are. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at 30, you've kind of had a little bit of life experience. You've like on your way to be a doctor. You're like, I know what the hell I'm doing. And,
I was more cognizant.
Tom, stop distracting me. So it's like a good time. It's a good time that now you have the rest of your life to like work this out and work on it and figure out who you are in it and find a partner who's gonna do what you need him to do.
It was a good time. I figured out, now knowing who I was and where I was going in life, this was just the perfect component that let me solidify kind of like this is my identity and this is what I need in my life.
And so how are you doing now in the relationship world? Are you involved? Do you have a partner? Is your partner into it? Like,
there is someone that I am just starting to date. Mm-hmm. And yes, he is into it. So
was he into it before, or he was like, oh, I can do this?
It was more the latter.
Okay.
When we started dating, and he is a dominant person and he likes control in the bedroom. He just didn't he didn't identify as a dominant. He wasn't necessarily.
He didn't know people. He didn't know the lifestyle.
Please tell me his name is Orlando.
I'm so sorry. It's not.
No, but it's almost just as good. It's almost just as good.
I'm so stuck sorry. On that. I'm sorry.
But, if this doesn't pan out and then Orlando comes along, I swear, Tom, you're the first person I'm telling.
No. Thank you.
I have to let you know.
It's just, what would be the odds?
Right. And so, yes, he definitely is more dominant, and it makes for a better relationship for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
And let me see, where do I want to go? I have to wrap up, even though I don't want to. I really don't want to, because I remember the first time we talked about this, and I don't remember exactly how it happened. It's probably around the 50 Shades of Grey time, and I was like, oh, James bought me this book, right? I was like, what's going on here? And you're like, relax, Candace. I was like, he just bought me the other book. What's going on here? So, I'm really excited for you, right? I'm really excited for you to have found this space where, knowing that you are kind of like super focused on your professional world and you're like being a doctor, you also have this other piece of your life that we're all trying to manage, both like professional work world and relationship goals, right? Like, I know that you want to get married, you want to have kids, like you want to do the whole Susie Homemaker thing.
I do.
Dr. Susie Homemaker, right? Yeah. And so I'm really glad that you're in this place where you know who you are and you know what to look for, because it cuts through some of the bullshit. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
So I guess the last thing I want to ask a little bit is, do you find that, obviously you're in a relationship now, but have you found that this lifestyle has hindered any of your relationships that you thought might have worked, but they weren't into it? Like, they weren't able to be a dom, the kind of dom that you needed?
To a certain extent, yes, but I don't think of it as being hindered so much as actually cutting back on wasting time. Mm-hmm. Think about how long you would spend trying to get to know someone, get to know your physical chemistry with someone, months before you're like, yeah, this isn't working, man. And now it's like 6 dates, and I'm like, all right, so this was cool.
Right.
I'm gonna go. But thank you. High five for you.
That's great.
And it totally cuts down on a lot of the lead time. And so it does make it harder to find, that perfect unicorn person that you want. But at the same time, it does lead you to not, it's easier to weed people out.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Is there anything that you would want people to know about the lifestyle that you think people have maybe a misconception about, having only seen 50 Shades of Grey? And
so, yes. So the first thing my cousins, God love them, asked me when we were talking about this, and I did tell them that I'm in the lifestyle, was, so you want to be beat? I was like, is that what I said?
Oh my God.
It was like the first thing. And I was like, okay, let's back up.
Oh my God.
So more that the lifestyle is so open, and it's more just about finding, what makes you tick, and what what you need in your personal life. It is, it's of course it's about what you need in the bedroom, but also it bleeds over into what you need in life a lot, and it's very, very versatile and diverse. So no two submissives are the same, just like no two people are the same. You make it what you want to make it. Not everyone says, "Oh, I'm a dom." They don't all identify like that, even if they kind of fit that mold. It's so non-judgmental and like I said, diverse and versatile, that it does feel good to find a place where you belong, but also not because you all look the same or act the same. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So cool.
It's just a really inclusive environment. Yeah.
That's amazing. I like it. So in that vein, if there's anybody listening who's interested in finding out more, where can people go to find information? Where would you direct people?
Honestly, so what I did was I read some books, and then I went on a website that I don't necessarily recommend for like meeting a person that you want to hook up with, but they have groups where you go for informational sessions or demonstrations, and it's called fetlife.com. It's FETLIFE.com. Okay. And again, I don't recommend it for hooking up with someone, but when you go into like your city and stuff like that, after you've made a profile, you can see like events. And that is where I found my first kind of like information session. And that's where I found the first club that I belonged to. And so it was really helpful to get me connected to people around my area, as opposed to kind of just reading about it in an academic and removed sense. Okay. This is where I actually got experience.
I like it. So what I hear you saying is, if you have an interest in the lifestyle, first get connected with people outside of like a physical, like don't start with a hookup. Don't start with a hookup. Start with like an informational session of people who are interested in telling you more and not about giving you more.
Exactly. To do that. Okay. Start with reading about it to make sure it does speak to you. And then if you feel like it does, start with going to informational sessions. If you're in an area that has a club or a group, it's really helpful to be able to just hear from people who are in the lifestyle, to see if it is something that you think fits who you are.
So cool. Well, Kima, Dr. Kima, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I love you so much. And thank you for sharing this really, you talk about it so freely, which is amazing, but it's a really personal thing, and sex is taboo in our culture, in our world. And so thank you so much for being so open and telling us and telling listeners and telling me more about something that I really didn't know anything about before. So
thank you for having me on, both of you. And I love you too, BF.
I know. So we will talk soon, okay? I love you. We'll sign off now, and you'll come back on the show another time, because you are full of surprises and way more things that we can always talk about. So come back on the show anytime.
Happy to do it.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, she was amazing.
Oh my God, I love her.
She said something that really struck a chord, and I was just like, whoa. And where she says that, we were talking about going out and finding people and dating, and she goes like, one of the benefits, right? It's not really so much a hindrance, but the benefit is that you don't waste your time. Investing time in relationships that are not going to work, because you already know what you want. You put it out there, and they choose to accept whether or not that's just something that you're gonna invest in. That's one of the things I really love about her. I was thinking her positioning, right? But her frame of mind and her way of thinking about things, and trying to be positive and trying to bring out the positive side in me and the people around her, and also herself. So I think of it first as a hindrance, but she has a way of really
turning things around and making you look at them a different way. So that works for her, keeps her skin glowing, and works for the people around her who love her. So
that's fantastic.
I'm really glad that she is my best friend and that she came on the show. I hope you'll come on. Let's say, listeners, if you have any experience in the BDSM lifestyle? Like, are you willing to talk about this kind of thing? Let me know if you've had any, like, I guess, good or bad, any kind of experience in this, and any advice for people who are interested in learning more. So she talked about FetLife, FetLife.com.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know of any other people listening? Do you know of any other resources or specific book titles that you would, I swear I'm not speaking for me. Maybe I am. But no, but just for listeners, people who are interested in learning more.
She's asking for a friend.
For a friend.
And you can email all that information to the Breezy Mountains podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah. So, so that I'm really glad she was here. So let's wrap up, because I think we're doing really well tonight.
Yeah, we did fantastic. I'm so proud of you.
You're welcome.
But yes, wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. So we are gonna. It's real life around here. So we are going to switch gears over to our MomSoHard tip of the week.
Yes.
Which for me is. I have to check to see what it's called. So I told you we've been going on field trips. I've been taking the kids on field trips, and I found this app for the bus, for the public transit. It's just called Transit, and it's just called Transit, and it looks like a little, I guess it looks like a little map snake, like a, what is this? Like a bus line with the little stops. I'm telling you, because there are a bunch of different options when you type in transit.
Oh, it just looks like a little road in the shape of an S.
Yes, it's a little road in the shape
sideways.
of a hat, and then it has the little dots, like you started here and you're going here. Anyway, I think it's so cool. As a driver primarily, I have forgotten everything about using public transportation. That's not the Metro North, right? Like, that's sort of the suburban. That's the only access to public transportation that I usually have as a suburban resident. But my city, I call it a city burbia because we have a little bit of both, actually has a pretty reasonable bus situation going on.
Yeah, it's pretty robust, the bus situation.
I mean, I've heard people complain about the fact that our New Haven has a lot of different neighborhoods, and like New York, they treat downtown as the hub and the only place that people want to go. So it's really easy to get from all of these neighborhoods into downtown, but very difficult to get from neighborhood to neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so it'll take you like 2 hours to get to a neighborhood that's just next door to you because you have to go through downtown. But besides that, getting around has been kind of cool. And this app is perfect. I mean, it shows me when the bus is coming, and it gives me a real-time update, like a countdown of minutes. It shows me when the next 3 buses are coming. It shows me all the different stops that I can get on and how long it's probably going to take. And I mean, it's just been super, super helpful, especially because I'm running around with 3 little kids, knowing when to leave the door and when, how much more time we have to try and keep it together before the bus arrives. But I didn't know about it before a week ago. And
I have to tell you,
it's amazing.
Not gotten on a bus in such a long time. I can't remember the last time I did it.
I had to ask how much the bus costs, what kind of coins could I use, dollars? Could I use my debit card? I don't know why I thought maybe by now I could use my debit card on the bus.
Maybe you could use your phone, tap it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I didn't
tap it and go.
I didn't tap and go. I didn't know. Although even if they could put the debit card on the bus, it would just really hold up things. So probably they'll never put the credit card on the bus, because then the buses will be at the stops for so long. But anyway, I figured out how to use the bus. This app is so cool. It's called Transit, and it looks like it's national. So you just put in your zip code and it starts and it finds where you are, and then it tells you all the buses in your area. I haven't figured out how to...
I guess what they could probably do, this is just me thinking out loud, they'll put a little credit card terminal like they do in the taxi cabs in front of every seat, right? And then the seat cushion has a pressure sensor.
Lord.
So if you sit your butt on it, it's going to require that you make a payment, right? So you don't have to worry about people paying at the front of the bus. They pay when they sit down.
Interesting. What about the standers?
And if they're standing, then you have to pay. Swipe it up on the little handlebar or something. I don't know.
This is not Minority Report. This is
just a thought.
Not The Fifth Element. We haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, right? Multipass.
Multipass. Oh my God. Multipass. I love that movie. I could be in that movie. If they started reshooting that movie and there was an open part, any part I could play, any part in that movie, I would know all the lines.
Ruby Rod.
Ruby Rod,
love
Ruby
it.
Rod. Bzz, bzz.
Bzz, go away.
We all gonna die. We all gonna die. Anyway, so check out that app if you are anywhere around or have any need for public transportation anywhere you go, because you can just, like, if you're going to a new town or new city, a new place, you can use the public transportation with a little bit of
knowledge.
And
you have an arsenal of knowledge.
Yeah. So anyway, it's
great time management too, because it helps you sort of kind of figure everything out. How much time do I have? I'm at the house. The bus stop is 4 blocks from me. How long is it going to take me to get there?
What's nice is the bus stop is 2 blocks from my house. Like, I can see, and it's even closer when we're coming home. So I can't believe I just got on the bus this week. Like, I've been in the house for 5 years. I can't believe I just got on the bus.
That's awesome.
But it's really cool. So if you have chance to be, like, we're going to Chicago in the fall, we're probably not going to use the bus, but if I needed to, I would use this app. So it's called Transit. Go out and check it out.
All right.
So I think that's it for me this week. Thanks so much for listening. We are here every week at what time? 7:30-ish.
7:30-ish.
7:30-ish. Streaming on digitalstreamradio.com. Click on Listen Live. And come back and share the show.
And if you love Candace so much, check her out on July 31st on K-Talk 2.0, the Ultimate Podcast.
Yes.
Because she'll be on.
You can also find at Digital Stream Radio.
Yeah. Trish says she's got something up his sleeves for you. I just don't know what it is. But anyway, I just figured I'd warn you. But on that note.
On that note, guys, I'll talk to you next week. Bye. This show is produced by Tom Ortiz at Digital Stream Radio. It's available for download on Podbean. Follow us at Facebook at Breezy Moms Podcast or email us at breezymomspodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, don't stress, just breathe.